there, Ariana from Crafting Happiness here. Today I'm going to show you how to crochet the feather stitch, and this is one row repeat pattern that looks beautiful on both sides, and you can see how thick it is. It creates a thick texture and it looks like braided rows of stitches. So this is how it looks like in one color, and then at the end I'll show you how to recreate this color work. So here I've changed colors every single row, but I have not cut the yarn, so you will have no ends, and I'll show you how to do that at the end. So let's get started. For this tutorial, I am using a run yarn and a 5mm crochet hook, and the multiples for this pattern is even numbers of chains. So my starting chains will be 36 chains. So let's start with a slip knot and then make 36 chains. And this is your starting chain. Now let's start with first row, and on the first row we start with a single crochet into the second chain from your hook. So into that make a single crochet, and then into every single chain make a single crochet all the way to the end of the row. And this is your first row. And now for the second row, we're gonna turn and chain 2, and this chain 2 doesn't count as a stitch, it's just a turning chain, so you can have some height when you make the half double crochet. Otherwise you will lose the stitch and then you'll start making mistakes. So I recommend instead of one chain, make 2. So chain 2, turn, and then into the first stitch we make a half double crochet. Then chain 1 and skip 1, and into the next stitch make another half double crochet. And this is your repeat section. Chain 1, skip 1, and make a half double crochet, and you repeat this all the way to the end of the row. So again, another repeat, chain 1, skip 1 stitch, and into the next make a half double crochet, and just repeat this all the way to the end of the row. I'll be speeding up the video. You can slow it down if you like, but yes, these are the steps. So you should be finishing the second row with a half double crochet, and this is how your second row looks like. Now we're gonna start row 3, so we turn and chain 2. Again, this does not count as a stitch, it's just a turning chain, and into that first stitch there, into the half double crochet below, we make 1 half double crochet, and this will be our stitch edge on either side of our work. And now we're gonna start making feather stitches. And to make a feather stitch for this third row, we yarn over, insert your hook into that chain 1, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then again yarn over, but instead of inserting your hook into this chain space, we're going to insert it into that single crochet below that we skipped on row 1, and yarn over, pull up a loop. So now we have 5 on our hook, and then we go into the following chain 1, and again yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop. So this is basically half double crochet 3 together, but the placement of the stitches are on different rows. Now we yarn over and pull through all 7 loops on our hook and then chain 1 to lock it. And this is how you make the feather stitch. And this will be your repeat until you have crocheted into the last chain 1 space. So let me show you again how to make it. Yarn over, insert your hook into the next chain 1 space, yarn over, pull up a loop, then yarn over into the single crochet we skipped below, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a long loop, and then into the following chain 1 space, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, and pull a loop. Now you're going to end up with 7 on your hook, yarn over and pull through all, then chain 1. And we're going to repeat this, like I said, all the way until the end of the row, until we have crocheted into the last chain 1 space. So I'll be speeding up the video. You can slow it down as usual, but yeah, repeat these 3 steps to make a feather stitch all the way to the end of the row. Once you have crocheted into the last chain, so let me show you how I make the last feather stitch. So you will have 2 chain spaces, and you just make your feather stitch in like so. So once you finish with that, you will make a half double crochet into the last chain stitch, which is the half double crochet at the end. So let's make a half double crochet, and this is our 3rd row. And now we're gonna start with row 4, which is our repeat row. So we start by turning and chaining 2 as usual, and then into the half double crochet below we make a half double crochet, then chain 1, and from here we start with our repeat section. So if you notice, we have little holes on the row below and 2 rows below. We will be using those to make the feather stitch. So like I said before, a feather stitch is basically a 3 half double crochet together, but instead of inserting a hook in 3 different stitches, we insert it in 3 different chain 1 spaces. So yarn over, insert a hook into the first chain 1 space, yarn over, pull up a loop and leave it on your hook. Then yarn over, insert your hook into the space 2 rows below, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then yarn over and into the following chain 1 space, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, and you'll end up with 7 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3, and then chain 1 to lock the feather stitch. And we repeat this all the way to the end of the row until you have crocheted into the last of these chain 1 spaces. So let me show you again. Yarn over, insert your hook in the first chain 1 space, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert your hook into the chain 1 space below, yarn over, pull up a loop, and again yarn over and insert your hook into the following chain 1 space, yarn over, pull up a loop, 7 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all, chain 1, and move on to the next. And we just repeat these 3 little steps to make the feather stitches all the way to the end of the row. Just make sure you are starting your feather stitch into the last worked chain one. So don't start into this chain one space, start into the one you have worked previously. And just continue like this. I will speed up the video and then I'll meet you at the end to show you how it looks like. So now I've reached the last chain 2 space, which is this one here. So remember, after you made the half double crochet, you chained 1. So let's make the last one, and then I will show you how you can follow this pattern without having to constantly count your stitches. So I've made my last feather stitch, I've chained 1 to lock it, and then into the last half double crochet there on the edge, make another half double crochet to finish the row. So this is your 4th row. Your repeat row, repeat this row until you have the desired length, and you don't even have to count your stitches. Now you can see how these braided columns form. All you have to do is create a feather stitch on top of each of these columns. So you will know you can't really go wrong with this pattern. You know your last feather stitch will be here, and then on each side of the pattern you have a half double crochet separated by a chain 1. This will be the chain 1 from the feather stitch, or when you start you make a half double crochet and a chain 1. And this is how row 4 looks like. So now let me show you how I did this color work, how I change colors every row without cutting the yarn. And this is pretty easy. It kind of applies to most of the stitches. I have done it before in bamboo stitch. I'll show you again. So when both your yarn it's on the same side, that's easy. You just take the next color work, pull it through the loop and tighten it, and then for this pattern we just chain 2. That does not count as a stitch, and then we continue as usual to do our stitches, and we do not carry the yarn across. So this is not that type of pattern. We just leave the yarn here and crochet our stitches as usual. Nothing different than the rest of the pattern when you make it in one color. So I'll just finish this row and then I'll show you how I continue from there. When you reach the end of the row, like I did, finish it as usual. So that's our last feather stitch, and then make the half double crochet at the end and just leave a long loop. Just leave it like that, don't need to do anything, just leave it. And now instead of turning, we're gonna still be working on the right side. We just move back to the green and we pick the green and we create a row on top of the blue. So insert your hook into that first half double crochet you've made and pull up a loop, and we chain 2. This doesn't count as a stitch as usual, and then make a half double crochet and chain 1, and then we continue with our feather stitches all along just like the usual pattern. I'll just finish this row very quickly just to show you how I complete this row here at the end with a loop. So now I am making the last feather stitch right here in the last space, and then all we have to do is 1 half double crochet at the end, and to do that we have to also catch this loop. So the way I do it, I make the loop quite small, and then when I insert my hook into the stitch in the half double crochet, I also catch the loop, and then I just make my half double crochet, and then I just pull the yarn, and this is what you have. And now we basically crocheted 2 rows on the right side. We're gonna turn and then continue with 2 rows on the wrong side, and you can see them here. There are 2 on one side, 2 on the other side. So it's not identical like the one color where you have just one on one side, the other ones on the other side, but still it's very similar and you don't have to cut the yarn. So yeah, this is how you crochet the feather stitch. I hope you found the tutorial easy to follow. If you have any questions about this pattern, please leave them in the comments below and I'll be more than happy to answer them. Happy crocheting!